Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. So, just really quick reminder, I do have a couple other different workshops, learning events coming up. If you would like to be a part of that, go check it out, k33academy.com/store, and you'll be able to see exactly what I have going on. Another thing I want to remind you guys, we do have that link still open. A member of our community, Sinbad Lone Wolf, is in a low point right now, some difficulty facing homelessness. And we want to just kind of gather some funds to get Sinbad and their family maybe 3 days or so at a motel, local motel, so that they can kind of just get a break from the hardship. If you'd like to donate to that, any amount helps. Simply go to the link on the screen. That link is in the pinned comment for all the platforms that I'm currently live streaming on. All right, so the reading for today, I asked what this reading was going to be about, and what I heard is living your best life regardless. Regardless. Like, I'm living my best life right now, regardless of how this mother effing drink tastes. It tastes kind of like a dirty, unchlorinated pool. I'm just going to drink it anyways. It has a taste, a flavor that I need to learn to love. It's burdock tea with absolutely no sugar, no caffeine, no sweeteners, no added colors. It's allegedly savory and refreshing. Allegedly. Let me see. I'm not a quitter. I will finish that drink. And I will never again purchase it. Mama didn't raise no quitter. All right, let's get started. I'm just like, why you gotta taste like that though? Like, what happened? What happened? It tastes yucky. That's what happened. All right. I'm totally someone who can drink things not based on the flavor, but based on the health benefits. Anti-inflammatory, tons of antioxidants, very supportive of healthy hepatic function. Excuse me. Helps to regulate hormones. It doesn't even taste like ass. I don't know what ass tastes like, but I can't even say it tastes like ass. It tastes like an unchlorinated dirty pool. I think that's the most accurate description. That's the most accurate description. The things I make myself do for the sake of health. I'm just saying. Sinbad, I'm going to be messaging you today. I hope you were able to access the meditation recording. I know quite a few people were having a hard time with technology yesterday. So I hope you were able to access it though. I would say it's quite possibly my most favorite meditation to date. Yesterday's comfort care meditation was just on a whole nother level. It totally affected me as well. Oh, I better hurry up. I have class. Okay, let's get started. All right, here goes. 1, 2. Okay. So there's something being presented to you, right? This thing, let me tuck my hair in, okay? Just tuck it in. Just tuck it in because I don't want it touching my neck at all. All right. So there's something that you've been trying to clear out, but you're not allowed to. There's also something that's being brought back that you had exiled, you had banished, and now it's being brought back. Um, living your best life regardless. Hmm. Even with those type of struggles, you're stepping into your goddess feminine creation stage, right? With that, there's opportunities being presented to you, but I don't know that you're paying attention to it yet. I think maybe you might still be in a mindset of being frustrated, a mindset of like questioning why you specifically need to experience these types of things, these types of struggles. Um, it's growing something in you. Something in you is being cultivated, and that's usually the why. What is being cultivated? What's being grown? Heck if I know. I don't know. I don't know. And just because we can come up with some type of, spiritual explanation, spirit-based explanation as to why you're experiencing the hardship that you're experiencing. Boo, it's still a hardship. Don't diminish what you're going through. Don't exaggerate it in your mind, but don't diminish that either. You know what I mean? You're going through something. You're going through something. It's going to be okay. Sometimes when we go through things, we enter into like a more negative mindset because of what you're going through. It's a normal, natural reaction, but you have to still keep mindful of the fact that this is temporary unless you choose to make it permanent, right? So, this is not something you need a guardian for. You're going through this process specifically because it's going to take you to the next part of your life. Um, I would assume the next part is going to include elevations in stability, elevations in prosperity, just so many different types of elevations, right? Like a very prosperous period is approaching. Every time right before I receive a prosperous period of my life, there's like tremendous hardship. That's just kind of how it is. And what I've learned, and I came across esoteric manuals that helped me to understand what I was already choosing to believe, is that it's like the swing of the pendulum. As far left as you will go, once you release, you will swing that far right. It's this precursor, this primer that's occurring, this period of stagnation. You feel like you're being stagnant. Um, this is a period where you are accruing the energy to move forward, to be launched into the next part. But it's going to require you letting go of trying to control things. Okay. It doesn't mean you're going to give up and depend on everyone else. No, you have to let go of the need, the desire to control the way this will play out. That's not going to serve you in this period. There is something that's being allowed to end. And I think it's the struggle. The struggle is being allowed to end. But, you know, what I've noticed, because I'm a huge people watcher, I just be watching people all the time, just nosy as fuck, watching people, watching, just watching. Um, Sometimes people will get into a space um, of like beginning to identify as a circumstance that they are experiencing. I know quite a few people like this where they go through something difficult and it's been difficult and they're being presented with options that maybe they don't resonate with, and then next thing you know, they've been going through it for so long that now it's like this is their identity. Like I know a couple of people with long-term health issues because of some medical things that they were kind of forced to do to keep their job. Um, you got to do what you got to do to keep your job, right? That's a lot of people's mindset, which very understandable. And then they got so sick from that specific requirement that they participated in to keep their job. They got so sick, they lost their job. That's another hardship. Now, like 3 years later, they're still very sick. The sickness is worsening. And one person in particular, I was like, hey, can I work on you? I think I can really help with these symptoms. They developed POTS. They have, I think, like, I don't remember if it's like partial facial paralysis at this point. They just a whole bunch of different, like, really bad things have happened. And, I'm offering this, like, I'm not saying book a session. I'm not saying I'm going to give you a discount. I'm like, will you let me? Have they let me? And they understand the gravity of the work that I do. Have they let me? I've asked probably 2 or 3 times at this point. The last time was just point blank, "Will you let me reverse this?" That's a choice. You know what I'm saying? It's a choice. It's a choice, and it's this thing of just because you choose to not be in a negative space for that day, it doesn't mean suddenly from that day forward everything is gonna change. That's not what it means. You have to sustain the desire for the change in order to give the change the time to enter into your life, living your best life, regardless of how long that change takes, right? And change always begins inside within us. No, they didn't let me. They gave me this very just kind of bland, like, oh, if you feel like you want to, sure. And I was like, okay, well, let me know when you have time later. Forward me all of the information that your doctors have told you. You don't have to give me, any medical documents or anything, but you need to tell me the exact terms the doctors are using, the placement, all of that. Um, and then I'll begin the work. That was months ago. Not a single text message. Not a single one. And that tells me there's no desire to actually heal. You know what I mean? Osteoarthritis throughout your whole body at 55. There's ways to correct that. There's definitely ways to correct that. Um, It'll be a process. You would have to change quite a bit in your environment, in your lifestyle, your current dietary practice. You would have to change quite a bit. It doesn't require a lot of money, you know? It doesn't require a lot of money. It just requires a commitment to yourself, right? So you need to cleanse yourself of the mindsets that don't allow for the death to occur, the ending of whatever this cycle of struggle is. Now, I'm not saying that for the person, my friend who basically is not accepting my offer, that um if they're a bad person or that they don't believe in me or any of that. I'm just saying we go through our own processes. I didn't push it any further because I have to respect the decisions that are made. If that is your identity and I push it further, then what ends up happening is I become the villain in your story. And I'm not willing to be that anymore. I'm not willing to be that. I'm willing to honor your decisions and step back. Step back and no longer ask. The offers have been made. And that's that. The offers have been made and it is what it is, right? When it's us that are experiencing that, I want you to know it's not about you being the problem. It's that you are identifying as the problem. That has to be shifted. If you allow it to slowly shift, you can maintain that. If you try and make a 180-degree shift instantly, you will snap back to that ground zero, 0 degrees of motion, just right back to square one. Hard, very, very hard. That's not easy to sustain if you make a tremendous life change like that. without taking the necessary steps. It's not easy to sustain that. And most people will crumble and it will break down. It will falter, and then you'll feel like a failure. And then, that whole snowball effect of how we see ourselves. The ethos is what we need to change first. The way you think, the way you perceive, all of that needs to be shifted. It needs to be heavily shifted. It needs to be allowed to come to this space where you recognize it's no longer um, appropriate for you to live in that mental space. I was talking to someone the other day, and they were going through a very anxious, anxiety filled moment, and they were sharing what they were having anxiety over. And the most powerful thing was that they shared what they had anxiety about, and there was no pause, there was no poking and prodding from me. They immediately also shared that they recognize these are irrational thoughts. Powerful. That is so powerful. Cognitive behavioral therapy, the root of that, CBT, the root of that is when you're able to identify the irrational, unrealistic thinking, the thinking that's across the board that's not appropriate, right? When you can begin to identify that, you can then begin to step into another cycle where you're actively trying to correct it, where you don't allow yourself to stay in that distorted mindset for too long. Living your best life, regardless of how much you struggle through these processes. Living your best life has nothing to do with material belongings. It has nothing to do with human comforts or anything like that. It's about really tapping into your ability to recognize the gravity of the situation you're in and what that situation is trying to do for you, right? Oftentimes, when we go through hardship, that hardship is the bridge that's being built to get you to the other side. Is it easy to build a bridge when you have no instructions? No. And if you have a weight about you, you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, what happens? You need to build a bridge that's more capable of handling the kind of weight that you carry on your shoulders. That means the raw materials you'll be given by life in that circumstance is going to be much heavier, right? I'm carrying a very heavy weight on my shoulders lately. The weight of keeping our community safe, the weight of keeping my family members safe, the weight of someone else's distorted, absolutely disgusting. I mean, this person is disgusting to do death threats to a 2-year-old little girl that I've never even showed a picture of. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's one of those things, right? It's one of those things. So then what ends up happening is I have to consciously choose to recognize what I'm doing. I have to consciously choose to recognize what I am doing, which is what? I'm building the bridge to get me to the other side. The other side of what? The other side of whatever this circumstance is, because the other side is where I now belong. I have outgrown this place of smallness that I have continued to occupy, and it's time for me to enter into an uncomfortable space of greatness. It's like putting a small fish in a big pond, not realizing the fear that I have is the thing that's blocking me. And once I get comfortable in that bigger pond, yes, I feel very small. I feel very, insignificant. I feel like, what am I going to do here? But at the same time, the size of that pond gives me the space to continue to grow. And then eventually I won't be in ponds anymore. Eventually I'll have developed the ability, maturity, and desire to be released back into the ocean where I actually belong. The ocean will never limit how far I can grow, how big, how wide, how whatever. It can allow me to reach depths that I need to reach, right? I think a lot of the things we struggle with Healer in reverse, we don't allow ourselves to heal, right? Again, it's that identifying as part of the issue more than just part of the issue, allowing our identity to then become strictly the wound, right? And I'll tell you, some people don't understand because they've never been in that situation. Some people will be like, why wouldn't they let you help them heal? And not to say that those people have had a easy life, but I would say you should be very thankful. You don't know why they don't let others help them heal. You should be very, very grateful for that. I'll tell you why. I've recognized as a people watcher, oftentimes when people identifies the wound and you represent the healing of that wound, that means you represent the erasure of their identity. Who will they be after they heal? That's scary. If the pain is the way to try and guilt the person you want in your life to stay in your life, heck no, you're not going to let yourself heal. I see that. I totally see that quite often. Um, but again, it doesn't make them a bad person. It doesn't necessarily mean they're like intentionally manipulative. It just means they've entered into a very difficult stage of their growth, and hopefully they'll be able to overcome that, right? I understand my place now when it comes to helping others. I need to help, not fully carry. I need to help, not fully carry. Because again, in the past, I've fully carried people. And in that, yes, just like you said, the chosen family, it backfires. They turn on you. I was like, I didn't even do anything. I don't understand why I'm suddenly the villain. Um, well, yeah, because I participated in a cycle of giving them a hero, which now they're going to look for another hero at some point, and then they're going to need a villain in order to recruit a new hero. And I'm not the only person who's experienced this. I've had quite a few different friends with a public platform who have experienced this as well, and they've learned to kind of take a step back and help, not fully carry. Right. So you're being allowed to manifest either the help you need or manifest the ways in which to help yourself. Right. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. This is not something that you need to initiate, but this is definitely something that you need to allow. If you allow it, you'll get through this much easier, much faster. You have to let yourself ground. You have to you have to stop being so head in the clouds all the time. This concept of, you're just going to manifest it. You have to allow for the manifestation. You have to focus, set the intention, all of that. But it's not enough to simply be like, I'm going to pray my solution into being, or I'm going to manifest complete removal from this, right? It's kind of just, there's a combination of things that need to happen where you need to allow the manifestation to occur. You also need to do the groundwork for yourself, the legwork, um, all these different things, right? All of these different things. So, which is cottage security. I think for some of us, part of the reason why we can't allow ourselves to see that we're living through goodness, even though it's not the best scenario, is that we don't feel very secure in the situation that we're in. I totally get it. I totally get it. Instability is something that's very difficult. It's difficult to process. It's difficult to move through. It's a very difficult thing. It's not impossible though, right? Card number 30, strength. Allowing yourself to recognize you haven't been using your full strength, probably because part of that energy, um, it's going towards things like maybe, and again, this is totally understandable. Maybe you're feeling a little bit sorry for yourself right now. Maybe it's going towards you, yeah, attacking yourself, just all these different things. I mean, Again, it's understandable. It's understandable when people go through those periods. But at the same time, is it necessary? Is it necessary? Do we need to continue to live in that way? Probably not. It's probably something that at some point we're going to need to begin assessing the ways in which we can exit out of there, right? You got to be careful about falling into the mindset of this is just how life is. Life sucks. You could be in that mindset and it will absolutely suck. Or you can be in a sucky situation and be like, okay, I don't know how long I'm going to be in this, but I'm going to do everything I can to get out of it. I might have help. I might not. I might need to simply just pick myself up and be like, I'm not going to stop until I'm out of it. Right. I'm speaking from experience at this point. I'm speaking from experience. I'm kind of just like, something needs to change. Having these realizations after certain things had happened, I was like, okay, something needs to change. I can't allow myself to be uncomfortable in this space. I can't allow my family to be uncomfortable in this space. Something definitely needs to change, right? It needs to. So it's definitely, um, doable. It challenges you to rise to the task at hand. Sinbad, if you can get a 5-gallon bucket, they sell at Home Depot 5-gallon buckets. They also sell toilet seat covers for that bucket. It's a toilet seat with a lid. And if you get garbage bags, you could put it in that 5-gallon bucket, put the toilet seat on top, and that can be your temporary restroom. You can also get a very quick pop-up changing tent. It's basically like a stall. You can put your toilet in there. You could do your business, wrap it all up, throw away the bag after every time, close it well, tight shut, throw it in a public trash, and there you go. There's also different variations depending on the type of vehicle you have. There's variations you can do in the vehicle. There's ways around things. And there's ways to overcome the things that make you feel the worst. So it's a pretty bad feeling, right? It's a pretty bad feeling. Self-worth in reverse, not understanding what you deserve, believing the lie that someone else told you about yourself. That can greatly affect your ability to live your best life regardless of the situation you're in, right? You have to allow yourself to surrender to the process. That doesn't mean you have to allow yourself to be like, I'm thankful for my suffering. You don't got to be thankful in that way. The thankfulness, the gratitude can come after you've exited out of that suffering. Some people will try and convince you like, oh, you're stuck because you're not grateful. Are you serious? I'm stuck because I'm not. Clearly, you've never been in that type of situation, because if you have, I don't know that you would be grateful either. you know. Oh, porta potty. Yeah, that's hard if you ride people in your car. The pop-up tent might be a more doable thing if there's no porta potty. But again, if you ride people in your car, that's hard, especially if it's small. Surrender to the process, meaning really let yourself be immersed in what you are experiencing. Not necessarily immerse, like intentionally allow yourself to suffer more. I don't think that's the point. I think when I am talking about immersing yourself, just really being neutral in your observation so that you can fully see. Because if you allow yourself to enter into a space of elevated negative perception of what you're going through, which that's normal. What ends up happening is your view and potentially your ability to receive solutions, it becomes very, very, very negative, right? Very, very negative. Transformation, allowing yourself to transform beyond that which you thought you could reach, right? Allowing the changes to occur. I think slowly you'll begin to see changes are occurring. I think slowly you'll begin to notice if you can sustain that trajectory that you want to be on, you will be eventually exiting out of where you currently are, right? Using your intuition to help guide you and fuel your movement is very important. Very, very, very important. Celebration in reverse, allowing yourself to be okay with the fact that there's really not much to celebrate right now, but it's going to be this thing of like, later, there might be things that can be celebrated. I mean, do you really need to have a party every single day of your life? Right? Do you really need to have a party every single day of your life? I mean, that sense of entitlement is what's going to hurt your feelings more than the actual situation that you're in. I'm not entitled to anything. Just like no one is entitled to anything for me, from me. So being able to really gauge the direction you're going, the way you're traveling it with gratitude or not, whether you're just feeling entitled or whether it's such a difficult situation that, you know what, the gratitude is just going to have to wait. I'm really in my feels right now, which you got to let yourself be in your feelings sometimes. You got to let yourself feel like I'm really pissed off at life because life feels like it's done me dirty. Okay, let yourself feel it for a little bit. I mean, don't stay there. That's not a reason to lash out at others. It's not. Whatever has happened to you, it's not a reason to lash out at other people. I mean that so wholeheartedly. But yeah, let yourself honor how you're feeling in that moment. Just don't stay there too long because then you run the risk of it becoming your identity. Gratitude. Eventually, as you progress, as you progress, you'll find things to be grateful for. You'll find these little nuggets of gifts that life is tossing towards you, like a kind word from a person, maybe a little bit of help, maybe just, I don't know. It feels like there's an energy present that is just so oppressive, you know? Ah, look at this. Look at this. Okay. See? See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying? Because my schedule has me so preoccupied with so many different things. It's taking me a little bit of time to get everything organized for you. 3 days. 3 days. Maybe the 3 days before. And then you have those 3 days for that weekend. And then it's like, it's about a week that you've had some comfort, had some rest, right? And it's not that you have to shift everything completely. I do still feel from you some bad like frustration, which again, that's totally, totally freaking understandable. But you got to keep choosing to shift it back. Like, you know what? It's temporary. Feeling frustrated. I have a right to feel frustrated. It's temporary. It's temporary. Let me just breathe. Minor setback. I'm going to keep pushing forward. Right? That's a good thing. That's really a good thing. I need to get in touch with you today, though, so that we can really hammer out some of the details and get contact some of the hotels and stuff or motels in the area. Okay. Um, I've been just super crazy busy with the event yesterday and classes all weekend. My kid asked me, "Mommy, when is your next no work day?" And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Don't you have a no work day?" And I was like, "No." Well, technically, I have 2 days that are no work days, but I work on those days. And he's like, "No, but you have a no work day." And I was like, "Yeah, but I still work during my no work days." So it's just craziness. Craziness. Things will get hammered out, though. They really will. Card number 3, be fearless. It's okay for you to have fear. What's not okay is allowing that fear to cripple you. What's not okay is allowing that fear to cause you to shut down completely for prolonged periods. That's not going to help you. That's not going to help you. You can shut down for a couple of minutes, maybe a whole day if it's safe for you to be in a space of being shut down, but it can't be for a prolonged period. That's not going to help you at all. That's going to exacerbate and create complexities within something that's already such a struggle, right? The key is to allow yourself. I know. Ocean's like, I don't even know why you put no work days on your schedule. Yeah, so the whole team gets a reminder. No work today, no schedule. And then there I am catching up on everything else. It's just to give me a reminder that I have time to do other things that day. But it's okay to have fear. What you do in the presence of that fear is what will determine the way that fear affects you. If you shut down, you've given that fear complete control, complete power. If you allow yourself to have that fear and be like, you know what? I'm going to do something about this anyways, I'm going to do something. It's going to be okay. I don't know if it will work, but it's going to be okay, right? Sometimes the things that we fear are actually the pathways that lead us out of what we're going through. Let that sink in. Sometimes the things that we fear are actually the pathways that lead us out of our suffering. Going back to the time I was stuck in the parking lot, right? I have no qualms with that period of my life. I don't feel bad for that period of my life. It's such a powerful period of my life. We were stuck in the parking lot. And then I remember someone who was an associate for a little bit. He just reached out to me one day because maybe a couple days before that, maybe like 2 days before he reached out, I was like, you know what? I think I've had enough. I need to do this. I need to like get out of this situation already. I'm still willing to learn whatever soul is teaching me, but I don't think I need to learn it stuck here anymore. And then maybe about 2 days later, this person reached out and like, Emmy, do you have time to video chat later? And I was like, why do you want to video chat? It scared the shit out of me. Why does he want a video chat? Like we're not buddies. So I don't know. But even when I had that fear, I went ahead and I video chatted with him. And he was just so sweet. So sweet. What a sweet man. He's like, I mean, people love you. People love you and you make these amazing things. And, why don't you do an auction to raise money to fix your brakes? And I was like, well, I don't know. It makes me very scared because I'm very socially awkward. What if I freeze up? And then I like it's hard. It's too much for me. I'm overwhelmed. And he's like, well, if I live streamed with you, if I was on the live with you, would that make you feel better? That way, if you don't know what to say, I'll kind of just start talking so that you can have time to kind of get yourself centered and start talking again. And I was like, okay, okay, I think I can do that. He didn't have to do any of that. He didn't have to offer any of that at all. So he does this auction with me. And if I remember right, he didn't really talk much. I didn't need him to take up the time and the space by just having, you know, conversation with the viewers, because I never lost my words through the whole thing. I sold everything that day, and I raised enough money to fix my brakes. And then I think a day or two later, I went and I live streamed, because that shifted something in me. I went and I live streamed, and I did it without him. And I think it was like a week later, I live stream again, and I had another auction, this time for someone else, and he wasn't on with me. And by the time that live stream was done, it's maybe like 2 hours, there were, I want to say, 24,000 or 32,000 views. That's how many people joined me on that live stream. And I messaged him. I was like, Eddie, look. He sent him a screenshot. I was like, this is crazy. Do you think it's a glitch? And he's like, Emmy, people love you. I was like, what? They don't even know me. And he's like, no, they see you and they know. And he said it in such a gentle way. You know, like he knew it would be hard for me to hear it. And he's like, they love you. They see you and they know. I still couldn't grasp it. But you know what? Even though I couldn't grasp it, I was still living my best life, just doing what I could and being okay with not understanding the why, not understanding the how, but just being in full flow with it, right? Being in full flow. And the best part about that, so I had raised enough to fix the brakes and also stay at a motel for the few days that they would have the RV in order to fix the brakes. And we were expecting like $1,500 or something like that. Because that's how much it took to replace the brakes before Michael broke it. Fucking asshole. I still feel some kind of way that he did that. That was a total waste of $1,500. He broke the brakes intentionally. But that was a thing, though. That was definitely the thing, is that because I continued with that forward progression within myself, when we took the RV in, they gave us an estimate and told us how many days, which it would be done the day before our motel room was up. And rather than $1,500, it was, I believe, like $700, basically half the cost of what I was anticipating. So the excess, I was able to help other people. You know, most people would be like, oh, just keep it, get yourself. No, I mean, I like to help people. So the rest I use to help other people in the community, right? What you allow for your momentum, the moment you halt it by returning completely all the way back to square one of negativity, you're going to have to put in a lot of effort to regain that momentum again. Don't stop the momentum. Keep it going. Yeah, you'll have setbacks. Yeah, you'll get frustrated here and there, but keep going. Keep going. Don't waste your energy completely stopping only to have to put in extra effort to regain the momentum you already had. You already have it. Keep going with it. Take those hardships and keep going with it anyways. Just keep going with it. Trust me. Speaking from experience. Cosmic connection. So there's connections that are being allowed to take place. And these connections are the very things that are going to help you with your momentum. It's going to absolutely help you with your momentum. You're going to be able to really just continue moving forward. You might have little skips, little pauses, but not a complete stop, right? As I was saying, don't stop the flow. Your soul is already warning you. Don't stop the flow. Allow the change to continue to progress. Allow it to continue to shift and morph as it's progressing, right? For many of you, you won't realize that this is part of a light code activation. Sometimes when a light code that's much higher in frequency than what you currently are gets injected into your field, sometimes what will happen is you'll experience tremendous upheaval. You'll notice you're suddenly feeling completely alone. You'll notice the people who you once resonated with, you no longer resonate with. You guys have nothing in common. Again, further exacerbating, complicating this feeling of aloneness. You're not alone, you're just experiencing solitude. There's isolation and then there's solitude. Sometimes when you're someone who tends to use other people as a distraction, I do that too. Helping other people can distract me from my own pain, right? So I know what it's like. But sometimes when you use other people as a distraction, a justification for you to not continue on your path, yeah, you're going to be forced into a space of isolation so that you can focus strictly on yourself. When you're innately a giver, a nurturer, you wonder why you're alone right now. It's not because you're being punished, it's because you're being forced to learn how to love yourself before all others. That's not selfishness. That's not self preservation. That's a cultivation of your understanding of the gift, the profound gift that you are. Let that sink in. Marinate in it. Percolate that biatch. Percolate that biatch. Okay. All right. How many of you do that? Do you do that? Where you allow yourself to, you know, kind of intellectualize, well, people need help. I need to help this person first. I can wait. Ocean, are you listening? Oh my God. Are you listening, Ocean? Miss, my stuff can wait. Let me help everyone else. Mhm. What's the nickname you gave me? You shipped me something, and then what was the name? Stubberina? Emmy Stubberina? Mhm. So many of us in this community are like that. I see that. Uh-huh. We sitting right there in the front row, homie. Preaching to the choir, right? And it's this thing. We do that. And, you don't got to feel badly, but you do have to recognize the ways in which you're betraying yourself, right? I recognize that for at least a portion of when I do that, it's this thing of this mindset, this hope that if I do that enough for you, then you will turn around and do it for me because for some reason I refuse to do it for myself, right? And then came the big arguments with Michaela over here where, man, talk about kicking me when I'm down. I was already in tears at that point. It was a while ago, long time ago, years. And I was just so upset. I don't even remember what happened, but I distinctly remember he said, the issue is you keep trying to find your heart living in someone else. You do tremendous things for others, but refuse to do it for yourself. And I was like, it's true though. It's true. It's very true. We have no problem stepping out of our way to do things for others. When I was raising funds for my brother's heart failure journey, um, oh my gosh, I'm trying not to cry. I always cry when I think about that. You guys helped me raise about $23,000 in like 24 hours. And that was the start of the whole COVID thing. And people weren't sure if they were going to keep their jobs. And everyone was kind of just like, bad space already. And I remember there were those of you who reached out to me privately and was like, I could only send $15. That's all I had in my account. I get paid next week. I can send more next week. And I'm like, stop. It's Sunday. How are you going to eat until Friday? And that's all I could think of. Like, it's you're reaching out to me on Sunday. It's your last $15. What are you going to eat this week? You could have got 2 weeks worth of top ramen so you're not hungry. Like, what are you going to eat this week? And these people, all of you guys are just so amazing. And when I entered into this community, you guys proved beyond the shadow of any doubts that my heart exists in other people, that you guys function in the same way that I do, that you're willing to give to the same degree that I give. It wasn't that my heart doesn't exist in other people, that other people are not capable of loving in the way that I do, even complete strangers. It was that I was in the wrong environment, surrounded by people who were not my people who had the capacity to continue to allow themselves to receive, even at the price of a deficit for me. Right? And in this community, I know, I see, I feel the reality of our community is that together, all of us don't have to be without, that we can always come together and help each other. It's not just one person that will be helped. It's when we come together that we can create such a ripple effect of change and healing. Well, that was such a potent part of my journey. I learned so much through such an extreme hardship. For those who weren't present during that time, I have to tell you, my mom died 6 months before that. Well, no, not even 6 months. That was in August. My mom died in June. I was not willing to have another family member die. Not if I could help it. So it was a difficult, very, very difficult period for me. Very difficult period for me. And it was definitely something that I needed to learn it with you guys. All of you who are an externalized reflection of my capacity to love. There's good people in this world still. A lot of them are in our community. We have an amazing community. We're all drawn to each other because we belong together in a community, It's this thing of like recognizing that some of our mindsets regarding like this must be a trap. It's not a trap. The only trap that currently exists is the one where you don't allow others who genuinely just want to help with no strings attached. Well, you don't let them help. You don't allow them to give you the opportunity that you're seeking, that you're needing, right? So, clarifier sigil, allowing yourself to gain the clarity you need, allowing yourself to begin understanding, you know what? I'm not as innocent as I think when it comes to the creation of the struggles that I've faced. I'm not a villain, but I'm not innocent either. I've actively co-created the struggles that I've faced because of my fear of receiving, my fear of how other people might take advantage, exploit, the vulnerability they see inside me. Vulnerability is oftentimes an unrecognized superpower. It reignites the humanity in the people who witness it. It has to be authentic, though. It can't be something manufactured. Ooh, I just got a notification. Outreach network, your support is pending. This could help you get ahead. I'm saying this is major confirmation for your path. Ooh. If you have to judge, make sure you don't allow that judgment to become an opportunity to condemn. If you have to judge yourself, which judgment is a part of discernment, if you have to judge yourself, make sure you don't suddenly use that opportunity to condemn yourself, to think of all the ways in which you failed and are horrible and you're probably alone because everyone doesn't like you. And, sometimes you're going through things alone because you don't want to tell anyone what's happening. I was stuck in a parking lot for, I want to say about 4 or 5 months before anyone knew what the heck was going on. Literally. No one had any idea. I was still trying to help other people. I was still doing all of my work completely for free. No one had any idea what the heck was happening in my private life because I'm so good at compartmentalizing. I'm so good at staying neutral in my observation of the really difficult things that I oftentimes, fucking daily. It's a daily thing. It is. That's how I learned, though. Did you see that? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You can let yourself have that moment of recognition, like, I feel some type of way about this, but I get it. It's okay. I feel some type of way, but in the end, this is going to benefit me. I just have to keep pushing. That's the whole process right there. You can do it in a few seconds, like I did, or like I sometimes do, you could take a couple days, a couple weeks. The longer you're in that process, the harder it is to come out of it, just to let you know. Just to let you know. Okay. So intuition sigil, but it's in reverse. You're not allowing the messages of soul to come through. You've lost trust in yourself. I get it. Get it. You can rebuild that trust. Rebuild it. Ooh. I found if you ask for help, usually strings are attached. It makes me not want to ask anymore. So here's the thing that I learned because I get it. I get it. And I've had people throw in my face that they've offered to help, right? So here's the thing. I have a tendency to not ask for help, right? When I say tendency, I have to really be arm twisted into asking for help. What I've noticed is I oftentimes will not ask for help. I'll simply allow myself to organically share what's going on. And then the people who genuinely care will offer help, and it won't feel like there's strings attached. You can feel it when strings are attached. You can feel it. When you allow your intuition to be more highly developed to the degree that you're capable of developing it, you can feel when there's strings, and that's when you don't accept the help. Right? There are certain signs, and I encourage you guys to share in the comments what red flags you've seen. You look back and you're like, I should have known that was a red flag. When someone offers you help and there's strings attached, what were the signs that you ignored? Please do put it in the comments. Put it in the comments so we as a community can kind of see and have our own intuitive urges be validated, because I think the red flags are very similar for most situations, right? I've had someone offer me help knowing that I was stuck, And then they basically took that as now they own me, and I will be their marketing, I will be their greatest product placement, and just crazy ass stuff. And I was like, you know what? Fuck you. I already doubled the amount you sent when I paid you back. You didn't even ask me to pay you back. I did anyways. You gave me $100. I paid you back 200. I helped you tremendously. I don't owe you shit at this point. Sometimes you got to be bold AF. That was at the start of me being publicly visible. And that person had a very considerable reach, right? Very considerable reach. Like, no, 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 right? A couple of years later, when I was doing the GoFundMe for my brother, I had someone very generously send $500. That's a lot of money. They sent $500 as a donation. I didn't solicit them specifically. They sent it. And then I noticed every time they message, they're asking about my sibling and, mentioning the $500. And I'm like, okay, it's not that I'm not grateful. It's like, this is making me feel uncomfortable now. Oh man, right? It triggered me and I was like, okay, no, I'm learning something through this. They offered the help. I accepted the help. That was not a prepayment. If they were wanting to prepay for services and unrestricted access to me, they should have communicated that. I received this help as it is help with no strings attached. So I did not agree. This is a conversation I'm having with myself at this point. I did not agree to allow myself, my services, my soul to be bought for that amount. And then, worst case scenario played out. It didn't take long. And this person was basically like, well, I helped you when I didn't need to, or whatever the heck they said. And I said, well, thank you for the help that you had offered generously. I'm very grateful for that. But had you told me in advance that it was actually instead a prepayment for my services and my time, I would have explained to you that that's not what the GoFundMe is for. That's not what it's for. And as much as I'd like to refund you and have nothing to do with you, you donated that to my brother. I'm simply an organizer. So it's not up to me to give that back to you. And they're like, oh, you're so greedy and this and that. Oh, you go ahead and keep it. You probably need that money more than I do. I absolutely do need this money more than you do right now. Absolutely. You're right. Thank you for understanding. It's going towards someone who actually needs it, cannot work. Thank you for understanding. I'm now going to block you. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Before that moment, I would have never been able to do that. I would have never been able to do that. I would have felt so ashamed, so triggered, and so in this space of give them back that money. Like, I don't care. I'm not like that. I don't need to prove nothing. That's where I'm at now. I don't need to prove nothing. When you offer to help me, I receive that as a gift from you. This is what I'm teaching myself. Sometimes it's still hard. I receive that as a gift from you. When you turn around and make it clear that was actually a very covert manner in which to give me a prepayment for my soul, my devotion to you, my loyal. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. There must have been confusion. I received that as a gift. Had you informed me at the start that you were sending this as prepayment, I would have said, no, thank you. I don't agree with that. But thank you for the gift anyways. I'm good. I will not do what you tell me to do because you think you are able to successfully scam me into selling my loyalty to you. No, no more. We have to learn to establish those boundaries. If people want to come back afterwards, later, and be like, well, I gave you something. Thank you for that gift. I'm still very grateful for that gift. Well, you have to do something for me. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that you were trying to pre purchase my services. No, I don't feel comfortable with that, but thank you for letting me know. For future reference, I will no longer be accepting gifts, assistance from you, just because I don't want to repeat this confusing circumstance that you created for both of us. They don't like when you say things like that. They don't like when you stay neutral and speak truth in a very unapologetic way. And I do still have gratitude for people who help. But the moment you show me that you only offer help in order to prepay for parts of me, I will be very clear. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that that's the way you were expecting things to go. Yeah, just for future reference, please don't send any more help in the future. I'm very uncomfortable with that type of business arrangement. That's a business arrangement. That was a business arrangement. Yeah, I'm this too. I feel this. That's why we always button heads. I was raised to not let anyone be able to hold anything over my head, to never let it be able to be said that I've used anyone. Same Z's. Same Z's. We're always like, y'all, you cannot just take this woman out to lunch. You can't. You can't just randomly be like, hey, I'm in the vicinity of your area. Can you just come and meet me for lunch? I'm not going to be here for long. I'm not going to be here for long. I'm just going to be in town for an hour. Let's meet for lunch, have a little chat, and then, got to get going. Oh, no. Oh, no. I'm talking to you. Miss. My Zell didn't go. I'm going to stop calling you out. Let me get a final card. I'm totally poking fun at Ocean. It's true though. She wouldn't even let me cover it. We didn't go to fancy lunch, you guys. We didn't go to fancy lunch. It was just a little spot, and I was like, you couldn't let me cover your pho. Oh no, I had pho. I was like, I'm not going to eat with you no more. I know, I'm like that too. I'm totally like that. It's uncomfortable for me for other people to pay for me, even like for lunch and stuff. I'm learning that I don't need to be that way, because really I'm not willing to go to lunch with anyone that makes me feel that way. Right? I'm not willing to. So when someone offers to do something for me and I trust them, I know it's not going to be held over me, just like I don't hold things over them. My circle is very, very small. It's very, very small for that reason. And so I'm trying to teach myself to not revert back to those same spaces, right? Let's see. Final card. Oh, you know what? I'm just going to read you the poetry of it because I got to go. Let go of thought. Oh, sorry. There's a final card. Card number 39. Blessing of Zara. Let go of thought. Don't take it into your heart. You are naked and thought is like ice. You use thought to seek release from suffering and pain, while thought is a cause of your suffering and pain. The realm of creation is outside the scope of thought. O foolish one, see the opus and behold the beauty. Look in the direction from which the images flow. See the brook that causes the wheel to turn. I wish to pull that false confection from your mouth. I know you will open your mouth even wider to scream like the terrible cry of a toddler denied. But the moment you open your mouth wide and draw breath to bemoan the outrageous travesty of your loss, I shall shove my divine finger dripping with nectar into your gaping mouth. I'll let you suckle then, surprised and contented by the sweetness that surpasses all other sweets. So it's this thing of you detoxing from that which you thought was true but really wasn't, right? Really allowing yourself to be in the full presence of the glory of what's being presented to you by life, by soul. Everything will work out. Everything will work out. That's what's destined for you. For things to work in your favor the moment you realize that you are in favor of creation. You are in favor of healing, healing yourself, healing your family, healing your community. You are the tool being used by Creator itself to help others learn how to navigate their own pain and suffering. That's why you go through what you go through, to prepare you to be worthy of the ways in which creation will use you as the impetus for other people's self-healing. You're a very important part of creation. Yes, you are. All members of this community are such an important part of the changes that are being brought to fruition by our community, by the collective whole. Very important part. Don't forget. You can be as irritated as you want, but never forget that truth. And allow that truth to always be the light that shines the way out of that negative mindset. Okay. I love you guys. I got to get going. Got to start my class. Please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe. Turn on that notification bell. Join me when I'm live. I think I'm going to be doing expedites today. I know I've been saying that. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. Who knows? Who knows? I promise I will do expedites very, very soon, though. I love y'all. Bye, everyone.